welcome to the second video in my 12 Days of Vlogmas attempt. Okay, so today's video is going to be pretty fun and quick. I just wanted to share with you my top 10 favorite Christmas/holiday themed movies. Now, before I share this list, I wanted to admit that Christmas movies aren't really, I don't really watch that many. I mean, I like them. I love Christmas and I love, the holiday vibe, but when it comes to Christmas movies, I have a core few that I remember either really loving as a kid or that I watch every year because I just love them so much. Just coming up with these 10 movies, I really had to think. After the first 5 or 6, I was like, what other movies do I watch? So a lot of these movies I actually haven't watched since I was a kid, but I remember really loving them as a kid. But all of these movies I'm definitely going to be watching in the month of December. I definitely gravitate more toward horror movies or, I mean, I like most genres of movies. I'm pretty eclectic when it comes to movies that I like, but Christmas, I just don't have a lot, and I definitely, I don't know, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I really can't stand Hallmark Christmas movies. I just, I respect them, they can exist and, do their thing, and I love that people love them. I personally I would have to be in a very particular mood to sit through a Hallmark Christmas movie. So, okay, now all that being said, I'm going to share with you my top 10 favorite movies. They're not really in any real order. The first 2 movies are definitely my favorite ones, but they're not in any real order. Definitely check out the description below because I'm going to list where these movies are available to stream, if they are available to stream. So it is a bit of a cloudy day. The lighting is definitely gonna be changing quite a bit throughout. I'm sorry. Okay, now, first video on this list. If anyone asks me what my favorite Christmas movie is, this is it. This is the one that I always tell them, and that movie is The Santa Claus. I friggin' adore this movie, okay? It came out in 1994. It stars Tim Allen. If you haven't already watched it, please do. I feel like this is one of the movies that I watch every year, and I feel like it still holds up. It still just makes me so happy. It's so cute, and I mean, I don't know if that's because I watched it when I was a kid, so it's one of my favorite movies, but I think it's still good. I think it's still so cute. So if you haven't watched it, please do. Now, number 2 on my list is definitely a classic for me. I feel like it's just, you think Christmas movie and you think of this movie, and that movie is Home Alone. Now, I am bunching together Home Alone 1 and 2, and honestly, this might be a little bit of an unpopular opinion. I really liked Home Alone 3. I liked it as a kid, and I've watched it, recently in my adult life, and I still really like it. So I'm gonna bunch those together in my number 2 spot. And so this movie is just so damn good. It stars Macaulay Culkin, obviously. We have Joe Pesci, we have Daniel Stern, we have Catherine O'Hara, John Candy is in it, and so it's about this large family who are a bit chaotic, a little bit dysfunctional. I love them so much. They plan to go away for the holidays, and in the chaos and all this stuff, they end up forgetting their son behind at home. And there are Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern play the wet bandits. They're kind of these not super competent burglars, and they decide to hit up the McAllister family home where Kevin is staying home alone because they know that the family is supposed to all be away on vacation. So they end up trying to burgle that home, and Kevin is the bravest, I don't know, what is he, 8, 9-year-old that I know, and he decides to defend his home against these would-be burglars. And it's just a good time, okay? It's such a good time. It's so much fun, and everyone should watch it. Okay, so number 3 on my list is also one of the Christmas movies that I watch every single year. It's one of my favorites, and that movie is Scrooged. And so Scrooged came out in 1988. It stars Bill Murray, who is just one of my absolute favorites. Scrooge is definitely one of my favorite Bill Murray films. We also have Carol Kane in it, and it's basically a retelling of A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. And so as the story goes, he is visited by the 3 ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future, and he, learns what he needs to learn, and it's a good time. It's a little bit it's a little wacky. And I feel when I talk about that movie, not many people have watched it, so I definitely recommend, if you're gonna watch any of the movies from this list, I recommend Scrooged. It's good. It's fun. Okay, so number 4 on this list is also one that I watch every single year. It's one of my favorites, and that is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the live-action one starring Jim Carrey. Came out in 2000. This movie is so much fun. I feel like they made it look so good. And Jim Carrey is just so good as the Grinch. In my opinion, I feel like this might be a polarizing thing. I feel like people don't really either you really love Jim Carrey as the Grinch, or you didn't like the Jim Carrey Grinch, but I really absolutely love Jim Carrey as the Grinch. So like I grew up watching Jim Carrey, so he's got a special place in my heart. Okay, so number 5 on my list is definitely a movie that I absolutely consider a Christmas movie, and it's one of my favorite Christmas movies, but it's not your conventional feel-good Christmas movie. And that movie is Batman Returns. And now, not only is Batman Returns one of my favorite Christmas movies, it's also one of my favorites from the whole series. It has Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, it has Danny DeVito as Penguin, and it's just so good, you know? It's so good. It happens during the Christmas season, but you never get that like Christmassy, redemption-y, feel-good payoff from your normal formula of Christmas movies. Like it's definitely, I love it. I love it for that, and I recommend watching it as a Christmas movie this Christmas. Okay, so number 6 on this list definitely follows the whole classic formula of a Christmas movie, and that is Just Friends. It came out in 2005. It stars Ryan Reynolds. I remember watching it when it first came out with a couple of friends of mine, and we loved it. Like, we just loved it, and it's one that I have watched often. Like, not every year. It's not one of the ones that, like, I make sure I watch every year, but I watch it often enough where it's still very much one of my favorites. And so this movie is really sweet and funny. Ryan Reynolds plays this guy Chris, who something happens and he ends up having to like go back to his hometown for the holidays because his trip to somewhere else fell through. So he ends up having to go home. And so he hasn't been home in like 10 years. He's definitely changed a lot since the last time he's been back home. And there's this love interest who he confessed his love to, and she said she just wanted to be friends. And so he kind of goes back home, and then the majority of the movie is him trying to like win her over and stuff. It's really cute. It's funny, and I like it. I recommend it. It's a good time. The next movie on my list is one that it's my favorite because it's nostalgic for me. Like, I definitely watched it a lot as a kid, and I did watch it recently. I watched it last year, and I still liked it. But I had to put it on this list because it's definitely one of the ones that comes up when I think about Christmas movies, and it's fun. It's a good time. I recommend it. But it's called Jingle All the Way. And so it came out in 1996. It stars Arnold Schwarzenegger. There are actually a lot of movies that I really enjoy starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's iconic. And so it's another family comedy type film, and Arnold plays a dad who has a son who's obsessed with this like new toy, this new like action figure Turbo Man that is coming out. It's all the rage. And obviously he forgets to get, this action figure, and then it's like sold out. The whole movie is him just trying to get this action figure for his son, which is really sweet. And all sorts of things happen along the way, and it's cute. If you like Arnold Schwarzenegger in any way, watch it. Okay, so now number 8. I actually have not watched this movie in years, in so long, but I know that I watched the shit out of this movie when I was a kid. I have the VHS somewhere at my parents' house for sure, but that movie is Beauty and the Beast and Enchanted Christmas. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Dude, it came out in 1997. Beauty and the Beast was like one of my favorite Disney movies. I was definitely a very big Disney, I just loved, it was Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Lion King. I was just so big on Disney movies when I was a kid. Like, I had a rotation of like 4 movies that I would just like constantly watch over and over again, and my family hated me for it. When Beauty and the Beast Enchanted Christmas came out, I was like, oh my god, I need it. So we got it, and I just watched it all the time. So it's on there. I don't really remember much of it because I feel like it's probably been over 10 years since I've seen it, but I had to put it on the list because that was one of my favorite movies growing up. So I needed to give it a little space here. And so number 9 on this list is another movie that I haven't watched in quite a few years, but again, it's one of the first ones that I think of because it was really important to me as a child. Like, when I was a kid watching it, it was just, it was one of my favorites. And it's a little bit sadder. It's got more of like a sad, especially like start to it. It's like a bittersweet family type film, but it's so good. It's so good. And that movie is Jack Frost. Jack Frost came out in 1998, and it stars Michael Keaton. I love Michael Keaton. Like, he is definitely my favorite Batman of all time. I don't care what anyone says. And he played Beetlejuice. Like, come on. Michael Keaton. And the reason this movie is kind of sad is Michael Keaton, he has a family. He plays a dad, and he's like not the best dad. And so he ends up dying in a car crash. Not because he's not the best dad, but there's some family issues there. But he ends up dying in a car crash. And then 1 year later, he reincarnates as a snowman and like tries to like, make things right with his son. Like, it's sweet, but it's also really sad, especially when he starts melting and stuff. Anyway, watch the film if you haven't. I am really looking forward to watching it again. It's been quite a while since I've watched it, but I remember it being So good. Okay, now my number 10, and it's not number 10 because it's my least favorite. I haven't watched it in like forever, but I remember when I watched it, I absolutely adored it. So I'm really looking forward to watching it again. This movie is actually technically not a Christmas movie. It focuses on Jewish characters around the Hanukkah season, and it's called 8 Crazy Nights, or I think it's also called Adam Sandler's 8 Crazy Nights. First of all, I love Adam Sandler, okay? I don't care what anybody says. I love Adam Sandler. I know that some of his films are hit or miss. For me, even when they're a miss, I love them because it's Adam Sandler, and again, just like Jim Carrey and stuff, I grew up watching Adam Sandler, so he definitely has a special place in my heart. And so 8 Crazy Nights, again, it focuses on, you know, the Hanukkah season, and it stars Adam Sandler, obviously. It's an animated, like, family comedy drama type thing, and I think it was actually his first, like, voice acting movie. It's so cute. I just remember it being so damn cute, and I'm really excited to watch it again because it's been so long. And so yeah, those are my top 10 favorite Christmas movies. Now, there are so many really good Christmas movies. There are so many really good classic Christmas movies that like I haven't seen yet. Like I haven't watched It's a Wonderful Life. I haven't watched A Christmas Story. Like there's so many. And there are some that I have watched that aren't on this list. There are so many good Christmas movies out there. Definitely check out other people's favorite Christmas movies or like, you know, top 100, whatever, classics. If you want to watch like really good Christmas movies, like these ones are these are my favorites because of my own specific upbringing and, you know, what I was exposed to and stuff. It's definitely not the cream of the crop when it comes to Christmas movies, but these are good Christmas movies, okay? So I definitely do want to watch more of the like classic Christmas films as well as some of the newer ones. Like I know that there's just like constantly Christmas movies coming out, and there are a lot that I have watched that are more recent that didn't make it onto this list, but these are my favorite. Now, I did want to mention one more movie, and this is one that I watched recently for the first time. I actually watched it in October because it's a horror-themed Christmas movie. I do really like it and I do recommend it, especially if you're like me and you prefer your movies in the horror thriller genre. And so secret movie number 11 is Black Christmas. And we're talking the 1974 version. I know I think there's like one from 2019. Haven't watched that one yet. I like watching originals first when it comes to horror movies. So I watched the original Black Christmas from 1974 and I really, really liked it. And so the movie basically takes place over the Christmas holidays and it's at a sorority house with a bunch of sorority sisters and they're kind of stalked by some crazy stranger person. So it's a good time. I mean, that's a good time for me. In a movie, I mean, it wouldn't be a good time in real life, but in a movie, ooh, so good. But yeah, I feel like it's definitely a classic Christmas horror movie, and I needed to share it with you guys, okay? It was good. So let me know what you thought of my list. You can absolutely judge me. You can tell me that my favorite movies are trash. I won't believe you, but I won't be offended, so yeah. So let me know if there's any movies on this list that you've never heard of. Let me know if there's any that are also your favorite. Let me know if there's any that you want to watch. And let me know what your favorite Christmas movies are. So thank you so much for watching. If you got to the end of this video, comment down below, stay gold because you are gold.